So what we are going to be looking at is actually a video that I originally recorded for the members of combatvetnews.net. This comes to us from the Daily Mail. It's helmet cam footage of a Ukrainian elite unit clearing a Russian trench line. All right, ladies and gentlemen of combatvetnews.net, thank you guys as always. .net, why do I keep saying that? .com. It's easy. Anyway, thank you guys. And as always, we're going to be checking out some wild footage. This is Ukrainian soldiers taking a Russian trench in what the Daily Mail calls terrifying POV footage from Bakhmut. Let's just check this out. Okay, so weather-wise, I'm going to say this probably is pretty recent because there's no snow on the ground. So it looks like they are in an improvised fighting position, or a fairly short one. I want to take a look at their gear. You can see this is actually a pretty high-end M4. It's got the Picatinny rail systems, and he's got some rail covers on it. Plus, of course, he has a fairly high-end helmet. Looks like a GoPro or NVG mount. And interestingly, he has the friend and foe identification bands, but they look green, which is itself kind of interesting. Though I've heard that Ukraine will cycle through friend and foe identification colors every so often.
Братан, зв'язку з вами немає.
Зв'язку немає з вами.
Oh yeah, it's another GoPro. Interesting. So this is supposedly the Sunshine Battalion of one of their intelligence directorates. So these are probably fairly good troops, fairly professional troops. But why an intel directorate is fighting in Bakhmut one of the things that we have heard is that when you saw in Bakhmut during the encirclement, we'll take a look here at the control map. That'll help you guys see what I'm talking about. When Bakhmut was encircled, this is Avdiivka, what you had, the supply lines were under threat, and they moved a lot of elite troops to help stabilize this. I suspect the Ukrainian Foreign Legion was there because there was a former New Zealand Special Forces soldier who was killed in Bakhmut, which seemed like an unusual place for an elite Ukrainian Foreign Legion outfit to be, but it would make sense that also some of their elite intel like support battalions would also be here to shore up these key routes leaving Bakhmut. Again, you can see just how under threat they are from supposedly elite Russian units. Supposedly north and south is being currently manned by VDV units while Wagner fights in the city proper. So I think it's very likely these are our top tier troops facing off against each other. Looks like there's some additional gear here that they've collected. Helmets and rifles. I can't tell if it's their own gear. Tossed him a grenade.
Покрутив. За горбик треба закинути, братан.
Damn, if they're in grenade range, usually you want to have one person providing cover. What's interesting is they didn't yell grenade, which is conventionally what you do, but it makes sense because I strongly suspect that the word grenade is very similar in Ukrainian and Russian, and you wouldn't want to tell someone that you're throwing a grenade at them. Oh, okay, so that gear is probably because they are clearing a trench very systematically. Now, normally what you would want, they've got one person clearing forward. Okay, it looks like they blurred out possibly some WIA, KIA. Oh, to keep this monetizable on YouTube. Very good call. Interesting. I didn't know the Daily Mail was doing this. Interesting. It sounds like they are just at a point in the trench where there's some Russian casualties. They've just blurred the whole thing. Looks like they're probably gonna move on here in a second. It could also be an encoding error with the GoPro itself. It's not unheard of.
Да, есть еще одна. Да, братан, мы закинули уже.
Yeah, interesting. That's green friend info identification.
Блядь, закончились, братан.
Oh, and look. So that now his partner has an AK. What's interesting too is look, the close combat optic is actually mounted properly. It's mounted to the front sight post, which is a better place for it. Sometimes you see them mounted to the dust cover, but the dust cover on an AK isn't that firm. It's not that secure. Oftentimes you can take it and rattle it a little bit and you'll hear it rattle. So you want it mounted to something that's immovable, that's as anchored to the main, to the body of the weapon itself. And that way, it's going to maintain its sight picture.
Є на спині, братан, сзади.
And it looks like he has something in the NATO style, maybe the Czech rifle. You can see they're passing off grenades to each other. It looks like they're systematically moving forward from place to place. Oh, interesting. Now there's a whole unit behind them. So what that must have been is a initial group, another moving past. Probably some KIA Russians. Yeah, I'm watching this for the first time with you guys, so I didn't realize that it had been so extensively censored. I'm actually, you know what? I'm gonna put this on. I think I'm gonna put this on YouTube, and then we'll do another one ourselves.
Не понял.
Ми йдемо, 2 чоловіки чекають піхоту.
А там кто? А їх нету.
Okay, so now it looks like they're very far into the trench line, maybe near the end of it. You can see, interesting, it looks like he has actually pouches on his helmet. Sometimes what they'll do is they'll put IR flashlights or lights on here so that aircraft overhead can look down. They'll see this flashing IR light and they'll know where their friends are, where friendly forces are located. Also, if you have like friendlies like in a higher position, or if you're clearing a trench, right? If someone's looking out over the trench line and they see your head pop up, they're going to see that flashing light and they're going to know exactly how far into the trench friendly forces have cleared. So it could be a really useful device. It's also interesting that he's rocking a battle belt and has nothing, and his plate carrier looks pretty slick. Again, a lot of gear that's abandoned in these trench lines, which says that probably the Russians are being pushed back very quickly, and that they weren't prepared to, be pushed from their trench lines so rapidly. Which is, of course, how you want an assault to go, right? You want your attack, your efforts to conduct these assaults to be rapid, so rapid that again, there's lots of abandoned gear, abandoned sleeping bags, there's an abandoned weapon. You can just see that there's a lot of abandoned equipment there.
Братан, надо пройти, закрепиться.
Yeah, look at that. It looks like there was a heavy artillery barrage because you could see that rifle was half buried. So this was actually probably prepared. Ukraine probably used a heavy artillery preparation, and that's why these trenches look not that dug out. Probably because they have been reduced considerably by artillery fire, reduced in depth.
Права полоса.
So it looks like maybe that was an incoming grenade. That's why they yelled granata. That's one of the reasons why they don't say grenade in, grenade out, or frag in, frag out. You say frag out because that way there's no chance. If you hear any part of it, if you only hear frag, if you only hear out, you're going to know that it means that a grenade is going out. If you hear grenade, you know it can only mean one thing, which is grenade in, coming in.
Слушай. Слушай. Фидерска? Птичка, що
But they
каже?
may not follow the same rules. Yeah, very interesting to see the number of rifles abandoned here. It's not clear if it just reflects that Russia's high casualty rate means that these trenches have a lot of leftover equipment where WIA were evacuated. That may be why a lot of the gear is here, because it literally doesn't belong to anyone who's still in the trench. So you notice that even though this is intensive, the pace is deliberate. And there's a certain sweet spot for military operations where you're not reckless. You still maintain good command and control. You maintain good situational awareness, but you're continually advancing. And it's not faster than the speed of your brain. And that's interesting. That's why highly trained units like the SEALs or Ranger Regiment, that's why they appear to operate so quickly, is because they've trained themselves in these battle drills so frequently that their speed, where they can maintain command and control, communication, fields of fire, is so fast. It appears to be reckless, but it's not. It's like... It's like watching elite tier, like NBA tier basketball players, right? They seem to move very, very quickly. They're all, but what you don't realize is how perfect their training is and how quickly they are in perfect formation. It's the key difference between highly trained and sort of like less trained. But you see these guys, right? And the reality of combat is it's messy and it involves stuff like this. They find a wire obstacle and somebody has to go, damn, where's our wire cutters? And, you know, or they have to clear a mine or a booby trap, right? So that sort of like delays trench clearing. Again, it's a testament that when you see elite units that can sweep through a trench, it's because they have rehearsed every contingency to death. It's because when they find a wire, either everyone has wire cutters, they know exactly who has wire cutters, and in one word they go, you know, they'll say wire cutter guy's up there, pulls them out, trench line keeps clearing, right? And so it can, but you only have to move faster than the enemy can maintain command and control, and that's what I think these guys are doing, right? Clearly, the Russians are abandoning gear right and left. They are, here's all this unspooled barbed wire. So all this says to me is that they're still moving faster than the enemy can react properly. And that's the gold standard in warfare.
Мене одна. Га? Без.
He turns back and clearly right behind him is like a KIA.
Марат.
Or possibly some other footage that you're not supposed to see.
Марат.
Yeah, this is accurate. Russia controls about 80% of Bakhmut. So what's interesting is Russian tactics, doctrinally, they say don't actually occupy the enemy's trenches because it may be pre-sighted for artillery. Instead, they encourage their forces to build their own fighting positions, but there's almost no chance that that happens.
Марат.
All right, very cool, guys. So anyway, I think... Okay, thank you so much for watching. If you want access to more videos like these and uncensored videos, you can get them on combatvetnews.net. Thanks to our lieutenant tier members and, of course, our colonel tier members for their huge support of the channel.